This is short story. I think that I would enjoy it. I am a caterpillar bearing a truly majestic name, the green silver lines, Pseudoips prasinana, and I think. Why so? I suppose, as with all living beings, it began with birth. My larva hatched from an egg and swiftly became aware of itself. And when I grew into a full-grown, splendid caterpillar, my sense of self whispered what I was meant to do. First and foremost, I wished to eat. To gnaw, to chew, to digest. I wish for it even now, which feels rather odd under the present circumstances. But more on that later. I shall begin from the beginning. My supple, lovely little body, adorned with countless tiny whisker-like vibrissae, filled with green beneath the spring sun. My legs carried me over warm soil, between blades of grass and the tall stems of wild rose. My mind immediately told me where nourishment lay. I crawled to a blade of grass and took a bite. It was magnificent. The taste was rich, slightly tart, and the scent carried the breath of morning dew. Just perfect. My consciousness exclaimed, trusting the senses. Feelings, in truth, are a strange phenomenon. I grew accustomed to them more slowly than to thought itself. At times I was cold, then hot hungry, then drowsy. I rejoiced in the crispness of morning and mourned the coming rain. Why did my small body hold so many sensations? I wrestled with them for quite some time, a full 2 days. On the third day I understood. With feelings, the world is far more interesting to know. After feeding, I felt compelled to look around. I climbed onto a shrub branch and beheld a yard. Giant machines stood there, humans passed by, and above them all rose a house, an immense colossus. I could not see where its walls ended. It seemed to prop up the clear sky itself. Now, recalling those first thoughts and sensations, I realize how naive I was. A foolish, bright little caterpillar. Such a simple purpose, yet now those memories warm me more than they vex me. I am glad to have them in this time. So then I looked about and grew confused. Where was I to go? I did not remember who had given life to my larval self. Yet my reason suggested it must have been others like me. That morning, on the branch, no one else was near, which meant I must seek my own kind, or at least someone with whom I could speak. And so I set out in search, brave, curious, and eternally hungry, Pseudoips prasinana. I remember that morning with great clarity. I descended from the branch and crawled to the sidewalk. Its broad asphalt stretch was riddled with cracks. Some I crossed in minutes, others I dared not approach, true canyons to me. At one point, I reached the sunny side. The morning rays warmed my skin. It was pleasant, yet restless. Humans marched endlessly back and forth. I could not grow accustomed to their enormity. The sun dazzled my eyes, and so pedestrians appeared as dark, walking mountains. How many there were! So many silhouettes, walking, wandering, running. Whole mountain ranges of giants. It took my breath away. Suddenly I longed to climb one of these mountains and travel the street upon it. A human stood nearby. I scrambled onto the toe of his white sneaker and found myself beside another small creature, a tree bug. He sat quietly on the lace, gazing into the distance. I asked where this giant human was headed, but the bug either did not know or chose to keep the knowledge to himself, answering with silence. When the human began to walk, the shaking commenced, yet I held fast. My legs and prolegs worked flawlessly, and my mucus kept my skin from drying. The journey was thrilling and deeply engaging, up and down, step by step. The human moved downhill along the street. I took in the vastness around me and read the signs. Shop, kiosk, boutique, CAF, shop again, pharmacy. The names merged into a single rushing stream of information. My head spun. So I returned to my task and asked the bug how I might find others like myself. He said nothing. A few stops later, he dropped from the sneaker to the ground without even bidding farewell. Rude, but then a grasshopper leapt onto the human's leg. At first I was intrigued, until he began to look at me strangely, hungrily. Fear seized me, and I chose retreat. I released my grip on the giant's white shoe and spiraled down to the ground. My vibrancy instantly sensed lush grass nearby. At once I wished to taste it. Delicious. My mind decoded the sensation of satisfaction and joy. All felt well. For a time, I even forgot my search and my unfamiliar surroundings. How wondrous it is to be aware of oneself. I am but a simple, ordinary creature, yet hunger awakens, and the brain sends a guiding signal. After satiation, neural synapses deliver the birth of joy, a beautiful weaving of instinct and conscious understanding of desire and action. Small things of life, simple, yet vital and sweet. It was in these thoughts that the bird found me. Until then, I had seen flying creatures only in the sky, high above. A few times I had observed them descend from branches to the ground, but always from afar. And then, in an instant, I was close, terrifyingly close. It was a gray pigeon, missing a claw on its left foot, with an ever-searching gaze. That stare of large, restless eyes paralyzed me for a heartbeat. Instinct screamed that I was prey and must flee. I wished to live. The pigeon had not yet seen me. It examined fallen poplar leaves nearby. Slowly I crawled toward a shallow hollow in the ground. Terror gripped me. My entire body trembled, yet I moved, striving to blend with the green of the grass. The bird was very near. How dreadful! How dreadful! I can do this. I can. Thoughts hammered in my mind, distracting me. Yet I fought. I fought for life. That struggle saved me. I reached the ditch and hid there, realizing that reason can sometimes play a cruel trick, drowning instinct and magnifying fear. And yet I also learned then, without reason, I would have long since been eaten. How sad, but let us not dwell on sorrow. Let us turn to memories of the future. That is precisely what I did after escaping the pigeon, once I had fully calmed and taken another bite of grass. My mood lifted. I began to dream. I imagined how marvelous it would be to find others like myself, to speak with them, to hear of their journeys. At last, I would ask whether we become butterflies. And if so, what kind? That question had long lived in my mind, but I had timidly postponed it, busy with daily matters. In that brief rest, I dared to voice it, if only to myself. Will I transform? Or is the caterpillar my true form? Why had no answer been planted within me? I knew the sun grants warmth and light, that grass nourishes, and birds must be avoided. But I had no idea of my essence, nor of what awaited me ahead. And that was strange. Well then, I thought, I shall find my own, and with them, the answers. A foolish, naive little green caterpillar. I remember how something enormous rolled past along the sidewalk, wheels rattling against the asphalt, mingled with a child's crying and the harsh voices of adults. Then, very close by, something else rushed over the grass, perhaps also on wheels. It crushed the blades flat, and the little ditch where I was sitting began to crack. I was not afraid, but I longed for quiet, and so I crept deeper into the soil. It was damp and cool there. Wonderfully so. I began to think about what to do next. Where should I crawl after I had rested? A pair of worms slid past. I asked them where I might find other caterpillars. They did not answer. They only complained that they were waiting for rain. It turned out they could sense through the earth that a summer storm was about to break. They also advised me to crawl upward, toward the mountains. I did not even know the mountains were so close, I thought then. When the worms were gone, I decided I would surely become a butterfly and fly on my bright, magnificent wings over the entire colossal city, rise to the peaks, and taste the nectar of mountain flowers. These enchanting dreams stirred me so deeply that my whole body went into spasms. It took some time to calm myself. After that, I resolved to crawl toward the mountains through the tunnels laid by worms and other insects. It was a mistake, though at the time I had no idea. About 10 minutes later, thunder rolled, and soon raindrops drummed upon the surface of the earth. They quickly seeped into the tunnels, and a flood began. It was a nightmare. I was choking, swept along by the sudden current, clutching at roots with my legs and mandibles. At last I managed to fasten myself to a tiny grass root. Darkness surrounded me. The water rose toward the ceiling of the tunnel. It was terrifying. And then understanding came. The instinct for survival had to be silenced. Yes, it told me that clinging to the root was safer than surrendering to the muddy torrent, but my reason whispered otherwise. And I listened to my thoughts, as I had done since the moment I was born. I let go of the root, and the current carried me into the dark. Fear released me after a few seconds, and moments later I realized I had chosen rightly. The flow strengthened and swept me to a crack in the soil. I emerged onto the surface and, seeking shelter from the downpour, searched with my gaze for a safe place. How wonderful it is to think. My mind guides me, and I obey. Thought allows me to exist. Oh, there it is. I saw a tree, a maple, I believe, and crawled toward it. Thankfully, I did not have to cross any human mountains, though I did need to carefully make my way around a puddle. At last I reached the tree. Its mighty trunk was riddled with fissures in the bark. I crawled a little way up and hid in a tiny but dry hollow. Inside lay several torn green leaves, and there were even neighbors, a dozen lost ants, a beetle, and a pair of harmless little spiders. The rain did not cease, but I no longer feared for my life and was able to relax. My neighbors settled where they could. The spiders whispered beneath the ceiling. The ants found an even narrower crevice nearby. The beetle took the center. No one touched me. Raindrops drummed against the trunk, and their rhythm was soothing. I fell asleep, curled at the far end of the hollow, beneath a leaf. It was warm, dry, and I was full. And above all, it was sensible. And that was magnificent. How good it is to remember such gentle moments. Only memory saves me from the horror unfolding now. Now I am pinned beneath a bird's claw, and I feel its beak tearing away piece after piece of my body. I feel it. Though with the greatest happiness I would abandon all sensation and emotion, if only I did not have to see, hear, or feel what is happening to me. She, this ravenous machine of death, flew into the hollow when the rain had ended. I had just awakened and was surprised to find that all my neighbors had vanished from their accustomed places, having evidently sensed danger in advance. I, however, had dulled my survival instinct, obeying reason. And so my delicate vibrissae did not twitch in warning when the yellow-bellied bird burst into the hollow. I thought I could blend with the green of the leaves, but the tit easily swept them aside and, spotting me, pressed me hard against the wooden floor. I was nothing but prey. Food. The beak began to dig into my hind limbs. I writhed and screamed, all in vain. Soon the instincts awoke, and I twisted even more violently, trying in righteous fury to prove that I could still resist and survive. Yes, I wanted to live. That is a fact. But here is another fact. The tit was relentless and hungry. The beak pierced deeper and deeper, tearing away whole pieces of flesh. Pain mingled with panic. Terror came in waves. I was no longer merely struggling. I was begging for mercy, bargaining for life in every way I could imagine, promising to lead her to nests of other caterpillars, to show her how to lure spiders, how to find bugs. But she continued to eat me in silence. And the cold glitter of death danced now in her left eye, now in her right. We were alone in the hollow. I, and inevitability, in the shape of a bird. The human city roared somewhere outside, but of course no help could be expected from the giants. My strength began to leave me, and then a strange apathy arrived. I had not known I was capable of such a feeling. It was as if my mind separated from my body, becoming an independent essence and wrapping itself in a cocoon. Only this shell was far stronger than the silken chrysalides of butterflies. This was something far more complex, a weave of memories, dreams, attempts, mistakes, and hopes of such power and faith that no beak could pierce this citadel of the mind. There I hid, awaiting the inevitable. A simple creature whose death is as uncomplicated a thing as life itself. And what comes after? I had no knowledge of that. Only dreams of a butterfly's life. Meanwhile, the tit has almost reached my head. I feel it. There is no more pain, no fear, no disappointment, no plans. Soon I will no longer exist. Or rather, I will become something else. Perhaps the cocoon holding my mind will yet remain somewhere. It is all very strange. But perhaps, through such a sacrifice, I may gain a new life. And then,